Hey everyone, I'm Scott Montgomery, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Scope AR. And today I'm going to be talking to you about unlocking human potential with real-time data in augmented reality. All right, as I was saying, I am Scott Montgomery. I am the CEO and co-founder of Scope AR. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about unlocking human potential and with real-time data in augmented reality. So this here is a bolt, obviously. And today here at AWE, I'm going to tell you a story about this bolt. And this bolt is a secret. So to you and me, and to this gentleman working on this bolt, it's just a bolt. Installing it is a mindless, repetitive act. Insert, tighten, good enough, repeat. Simple, right? Well, to engineers and designers, particularly those on complex, mission-critical equipment, a bolt is much, much more. To engineers, a bolt contains 1,000 design parameters, dimensions, thread depths, thread pitch, materials, chemical properties, durability, and much, much more. So you can see here an engineering diagram of what it looks like after a bolt has been torqued. So it's not just a bolt. There's actually a story. And there's a history. When was this bolt torqued? Who did it? And any impact of this can have a much broader impact to the broader system. But at the end of the day, the bolt doesn't say much to this one worker. And if they make a mistake, or if they make bad judgment, or if they make incorrect assumptions, or have missing context, or procedural error, then this can compromise the integrity of the overall machine and the installation. So, when you're all flying home on Friday, tomorrow, think of all the bolts on your Boeing or your Airbus. In an ideal world, you could unlock the secrets in all those bolts, its journey, and give the technicians the full context and health of this bolt. It would have a great digital report card that brings out the full potential of that installer and unblocks those secrets. And the data doesn't end with the human. So we built this information into our company mantra: make everyone an instant expert. So to make anyone an instant expert, we decided to embrace the digital thread. So what is a digital thread? Well, the physical world is messy. It's a gradient. There's a lot of information, an infinite amount of information, in fact. And we have tried to represent this digital or physical world with a digital world. But it's just a small representation of the overall information. And it's an abstraction of all the information contained in the visual world. So the visual world is just a man-made representation, a mirror comprising of discrete digital systems that capture small segments of the physical. So the classic example is CAD. All of us in this room are very familiar with CAD, being in virtual technologies, and that's just a simple representation of a real product. So the digital thread is really the story of that CAD model. So everything that has ever been manufactured has a story. From the iPad in your pocket, to the pen you're writing with, to the chair you're sitting on, everything's manufactured. And that all starts with the design. And for complex things, it's going to be designed in CAD. It's going to be designed in product lifecycle management software. And then you're going to go out to the supply chain. You're going to find parts to assemble it with. Almost no manufacturer manages everything. Even the simplest thing, like your chair, has to source bolts from somewhere else. Then you're going to build it. So you're going to take all those parts and you're going to assemble it. Then you're going to distribute it. That means installation. That means training. It means selling, marketing. And then once it's installed, that means maintaining it and fixing it when it breaks down. And then finally, rinse and repeat until this thing has end of life and you replace it with something else. So there's all these systems that have been designed to maintain and keep track of all the data in part of this life cycle. Again, designing, it's going to be in CAD and PLM. Source, again, CAD and PLM. Building, manufacturing execution systems to keep track of what's happening on the factory floor. Learning management systems for when you install it. Customer relationship management systems for selling it and keeping track of its lifespan. And field service management systems for keeping track of when it needs to be fixed and sending technicians out to fix it. So there's all this data in these systems that keeps track of all these things. But how does that relate to the user that's actually doing these things? Frontline workers, manufacturing engineers, people that are getting trained, none of this really helps them all that much. So when we say we are embracing the digital thread, we are addressing the users. And we've built an AR digital thread strategy based around 3 key pillars. The first is content, because content is king. The second is competence, because humans' performance matters. And the third is data, because data is the new oil. So we built WorkLink Create. This is the world's easiest to use authoring software for creating augmented reality work instructions to push that information out to your frontline workers. This is WorkLink Create. So this is an easy to use authoring platform that makes it really easy to drag and drop 3D models into your web browser. And on the back end, we'll do the conversion seamlessly for you. So it's as easy as possible to use to get up and running with your CAD models. It's browser-based, so it's accessible pretty much from wherever you are. There's no third-party licenses. It's just kind of one and done. And the best part is it's no code and easy to use. So a very small learning curve, and yet very simple and powerful. So WorkLink Create allows you to create this content, and then you're pushing it out to the cloud. So this can be a public cloud, or it can be a private secure cloud, so like we have for many of our DoD customers. Then you've got an application, and this is augmented reality, so it's going to be an app, iOS, Android, Windows, Microsoft HoloLens, other wearable displays that are forthcoming. Now this app is going to be how you play that content and you experience the work instructions to be trained, or to show how to do manufacturing, or to show your maintenance instructions. This app can also call another app, and you can communicate over augmented reality video. And the greatest part is you can actually do both of these at the same time. So that opens up really interesting use cases like remote training, remote competency, remote proctoring. And then built into the system is data capture mechanisms. So while you're doing your point of work, you're recording checklists, screenshots, videos, timestamp data, who it is because you're logging in, location data. So all this data is really interesting data that you've got about your workforce. And you can surface that data through our content management system or through an API to match it up with other systems. So a few months ago, we made this even easier. We announced a partnership with Siemens. So Siemens TeamCenter is one of the world's most popular platforms for manufacturing systems. About a third of the world's manufacturing has data stored in Siemens system. So we're able to leverage all the data stored, potentially for decades, in this system, and be able to easily import that into WorkLink Create. So now you can take all these CAD models, all your work instructions, your bill of materials, your bill of process, your product manufacturing information, and seamlessly import that into WorkLink Create. This reduces the friction of creating authoring instructions dramatically. And then you can use WorkLink Create to modify it for augmented reality, push it out to your frontline technicians so they can take the benefit seamlessly from all this information directly into augmented reality. So bringing us back to the digital thread, what's really exciting is that WorkLink can have a major impact across a vast segment of the lifecycle of a product. We're not going to impact the design and the build phase, or the sourcing phase of a product, but we can absolutely help on the build phase. For example, we're helping Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman to build the F-35 and the space shuttle. We're helping medical device customers to help sales training, installation training, distribution, product marketing type use cases. We're helping other companies on the service side of things to show digital maintenance instructions to help those frontline technicians know what they need to do to maintain equipment much more effectively. So all this information can be leveraged to make your frontline workers much more competent. And that brings me to our second pillar, competence. So recently, there's been a whole lot of brand new technologies that have come out that really help a worker or humanity to be much better and more efficient. So there's things like big data. It helps you analyze and be much more efficient across your processes. Robotics. Robots can work alongside humans on repetitive processes like automotive manufacturing. Simulation, so we can optimize processes. System integration, so all the data we have can tie together. Internet of Things, cybersecurity, cloud computing, additive manufacturing. All these technologies can really help us be much more efficient. But none of this matters if the individual doing their job can't do it well. And this is where augmented reality is really the keystone. We can deliver contextual information to frontline workers to enable them to perform their job and be the best version of themselves, and to optimize their human performance. So WorkLink has best-in-class training abilities. We've recently added a whole lot of quizzing features. And this can deliver scalable, comprehensive, and continually updated training to anyone, anywhere in the world. It features both graded assessments and knowledge spot checks. It's exceptionally easy to create. And this training data can then be integrated into learning management systems, again, along the digital thread. And so this brings us to our third and final point, our pillar on our digital thread, data. I think we can all agree that when workers are given the proper data, then they can do their jobs much better. So a human plus data is a better human. And data is the backbone of really what makes people an instant expert, getting them that information when they need it. And that, in turn, translates to better products, services, quality, efficiency, and less rework. So we've been told by our customers that rework can cost up to 10, even up to 100 times the original cost of installing something. So you really want to eliminate rework. And that comes down to having proper knowledge and context of doing it. So there's many forms of data, AR work instructions being one of them. But even when updated regularly, it still doesn't capture some of those key use cases. For some of those, you need real-time data, real-time feedback to prevent that rework, like in the bolts example we started with. Was this bolt installed to the right torque setting? Was it over-tightened in the past? Was it installed in the right order? There has to be a proper torque setting because it'll change the materials underlying it. And so only real-time data can answer these questions. So with that, I'd like to announce WorkLink IoT. So we built WorkLink IoT to deliver real-time data into an augmented reality experience. And it's here at the conference. You can check it out at booth 401 after the presentation. So here we are seeing an augmented reality view of showing step-by-step the proper torque pattern of how this technician needs to fasten these bolts. And then you've got a wireless torque wrench that is transmitting information into the augmented reality experience. And best of all, the augmented reality experience is responding in kind to that data. So we're showing the real value of that torque wrench in the augmented reality experience, the angle, and we're telling the user when it's done correctly. So when it's not done correctly, we can now modify the work instruction to go do something else. Maybe this nut needs to be replaced. Maybe the worker needs to report it. Maybe there's a whole new workflow that needs to happen because this guy's made a mistake. So the IoT mechanism can unlock many of these workflows. So WorkLink IoT is a purpose-built addition into WorkLink. It's extremely easy to set up and requires no third-party licensing or coding. Its plug-in architecture means that it's scalable and integrates to any number of IoT services and sensors. And this just isn't about devices and smart tools. It's a real-time connected data fabric, allowing virtually any data to be instantly imported into a WorkLink scenario. And critically, it integrates with any system of record that's already connected to WorkLink along the digital thread. So being able to modify your work instructions allows for really complex and yet simplistic workflows. It's really simple for the user to use. It's a simple variable system, so a simple learning curve, and yet it can be designed to construct really complicated workflows, and then being able to record that data in your system of record. So WorkLink IoT enables humans in the loop and augments this human to be the best human they can be. Work instructions, specifications, they're all given to the tool and the human simultaneously. Then that gives the worker the information they need to do the job correctly. But then the work instruction, the tool, can verify that information that's been done correctly and store it in the database, which can then be queried in real time. So this unlocks a tremendous amount of new opportunities and use cases. So we've already talked a little bit about smart tool integration, but what about smart factory? Being able to receive real-time information about what's going on the factory floor. This has tremendous impacts on quality controls. We've heard from many of our customers that it takes two people to do a simple job, one person to do it and one person to verify it. This can eliminate labor by 50% overnight. Supply chain awareness. When was the last time this part was replaced? What's its part number? What's the shelf life? What's its serial number? Maybe I need to order another one. All these types of workflows can be enabled by this. It has major impacts on inspections, on advanced training and certification. And we can't wait to hear what our customers come up with for brand new ideas on how to use this technology. And speaking of which, I'd like to say a sincere thank you to our customers, because without you guys pushing us to do this, we never would have done it. So thanks very much. And I'll take some time for QA.
Thank you so much, Scott. We have microphones up here in the aisle, so let's get a question going for Scott. We've got him for a few minutes.
Clear as day.
Oh, come on, we've got one question here. I should have a question. Let's see. Where are you from? Is your team working remote? Tell us, what's this status?
The status. So I'm originally from Canada, and I live here. I'm local. So I'm not taking a Boeing or an Airbus home, so I don't have to worry about those bolts.
Look, that spawned someone to come up and talk.
There you go.
This is a really kind of basic question. What kind of systems can you connect to? What kind of what assumptions should we make when we're trying to prepare our data to connect to this?
Yeah, so it's built to be a scalable system. So, like I said, there's this plugin architecture that allows you to communicate with many real-time data systems. So, we actually announced a partnership today with a company called Litmus. So it provides a final mile protocol for many different types of tools, but it's also possible to integrate with, for example, Azure IoT, Amazon IoT. Other protocols, a plain MQTT type protocol. So, and even there's a possibility to write some glue for some other API type integration. So, as I said, this really is a foundational technology for real-time data that can allow you to pull that data and bring it into the WorkLink scenario.
Hi there. Question for you regarding, since you're talking about everything from even small things like a bolt, do you guys take into account things like risk assessment of yes, obviously a lot of these things we want to make sure that everything's being done correctly, but obviously we don't want to spend so much time on just the one single bolt at times. Do you guys have a system that kind of tracks the risk management and assessment of those overall in the entirety of the system?
So we're just providing a tool, and it's up to the customers to figure out how they want to use it. So it's kind of like PowerPoint. You can design a really simple PowerPoint, or you can design a really complex PowerPoint. We're just providing that tool that enables customers to do whatever they want with it. So no, there's no actual risk assessment tools into it, but I'm sure you could figure out a way to use it for risk assessment.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, thanks everyone. We are having a happy hour at the Fault Line where we can have a beer and talk about IoT some more. Thank you.
Excellent.